All right, hello, welcome back, and thank you for joining us here at Adobe Live. My name is Jason Levine, and today I'm joined once again on day 3 with the amazing Pablo Lozano.
Hello guys, how are you?
And we've been talking about motion graphics templates and authoring motion graphics templates in After Effects, and you saw some of the incredible work that Pablo collaborated with Shonduras on.
Yeah, which sadly he's missing today.
Had
to go back. It's, you know.
The ghost of Sean.
Yeah, the
is
ghost
sitting
of
right
Sean.
here.
Yeah.
So, and hopefully maybe we'll see him in the chat if we're...
hey, we're lucky.
That's right, if we're lucky, we
yeah.
might. But we're going to sort of continue on with the theme of showcasing some of the stuff that Pablo's done in After Effects, and actually, so we're going to start first, I think, by finishing off that last transition animation yesterday, creating the motion graphics template,
for sure.
showing the editability in Premiere that you've
Yep.
allowed the editors to have. And then what I thought we'd do is, because of course we have a contest once again, and if you're following us in the chat at behance.net/live, go into the challenge tab. Today is a lower third challenge. So there's a motion graphics template lower third for you to download. There's also a little video clip that we want you to append on, underneath the lower third. Create something, get experimental. You can use that, or you can create your own. You can go rogue, as Valentina and Dacia were just saying.
Yeah.
And what happens if you win? Well, you win 1 year of Creative Cloud.
12 full months.
12 full months, right?
As we've gone over it.
Sean established a year is 12 full months. So you've got nothing to lose, friends, and this is the last day. This is your last chance. Well, not your last chance, because you've got Evan and Jake coming up after, but do it. You've got nothing to lose. Grab that lower third, get inspired, create something. And we've also, I wanted to point out that yesterday we were talking a little bit about what if you wanted to be able to become a stock contributor of motion graphics templates. So we showcased, Pablo, some of yours, and you've got a bunch of free ones in Adobe stock. Well, we are now going to allow you to become motion graphics template contributors. As it is today, you have a very easy path if you wanted to contribute, say, photography, imagery, or video directly from the Premiere Pro timeline into Adobe Media Encoder. You have the ability to upload to Adobe stock, and assuming your content gets approved, you can start monetizing, and that's that whole side hustle concept that Sean was talking about, right?
And you said like footage and like for people that like can like do a lot of
B-roll,
it's great.
It's awesome. I mean, again, you got stuff lying around. Why not monetize it? If you liked it, someone else will ultimately like it too. But motion graphics templates, we haven't as of yet made it available for just anybody to become a contributor. So I've got a link here. I'm going to post it in the chat for all of you. If you follow this is an Adobe Spark page. It's going to give you all of the details on how to become a motion graphics template contributor. So I suggest taking a look at that link. Again, if you do any kind of motion graphics, even if you have archived projects that you've made, reusable lower thirds, backgrounds, transitional elements that are, that you've liked, that you've used on multiple projects.
You can definitely try and get them out of there, and like people will find them useful. If you're proud of them, I'm sure someone will be it will be helpful for someone.
Absolutely, absolutely. So be sure to check out that link. And in any case, all right. Oh, and I see sentimental. All right. So as always, before we begin, we'd like to know where you're coming from today, where you're watching from. So let us know where you are. I see already. Hello, Anna.
I see some people from yesterday.
That's right.
Matthias.
Matthias, Vanessa,
Anna,
Mitch.
All right.
Simon. Simon. Oh, Michael. Michael's in the.
Michael's
he's not in the house, but he's in the chat. Hello, Michelle, Sasso. Very nice to see you. All right. Yeah, we got Milwaukee, Jakarta, Brooklyn, Detroit, Mexico, South Carolina, Utah. Monash, London, whilst playing Bubblecano. That really, Sean was very into Bubblecano yesterday.
He was.
I'll be honest. I got back to the hotel, and I was even myself. I attempted.
And you were just playing.
Well, I felt so lame, getting like 300 points or something.
After someone said like, I did like 50,000 points. You're like, I'm gonna spend the whole night trying to beat this.
I didn't get 50,000. I'm just not that good. But it was a lot of fun. So awesome. Liverpool, very nice. Liverpool in the attic, Norway, very, very cool. All right. So any more games? Probably not today. Feed, but you never know. Maybe we'll get inspired.
Things might happen.
So, okay, Romania, Canada, wonderful. So why don't we go ahead and switch over and maybe just recap where we left off yesterday.
Let's pick it up from where we left yesterday.
Okay.
So as the ones that have been following for the 3 days, you have seen that we started working on a transition for them to export it into a mogrt, so it can be used in Premiere, and put some controllers so it's editable for the content creator to adjust it to whatever they want. Like in this case, Sean, like change the colors to the space station branding.
Yep.
And what happened? So I can show you some of the style frames and how we developed from them, because it did change a bit. Like the idea was to create this kind of transition, like diagonal from the screen, wiping the screen, but that kind of evolved somehow into this other one, just to not make it boring for you guys, and see me just drawing for a whole hour. So we did this transition yesterday that goes from alpha to full screen to alpha again, and so today I'll be finishing this this transition, adding some of those like noisy texture shadows on it and a bit more detail, and then hopefully we can go over a couple of other projects that I have that probably are interesting for you guys. I can show you a bit of a. One is this one that I created for another Adobe event.
Yeah, so cool.
It's fully made in After Effects, and might be interesting for you guys to see how it was made, get into the comps and see some stuff. And
I love it. I didn't notice before, like that pseudo 3D shadowing that you had on the that's so good. So do you do do you do any actual 3D because you're so good? No,
I
because
don't.
You're so good at faking it. I mean,
I can use some cinema 4D.
Okay, yeah, sure.
But I only use it for reference if I have to do like a complicated camera move or something.
Sure.
But I will just use like a ball or a box to represent a character, and then get a sense of space.
I was gonna say get the sense of space and maybe light and shadow, so you can mimic that.
That kind of stuff, but like. I'm not a modeler, I don't really know lighting, so I use 3D in a very basic way.
You make it look amazing. And again, that sort of that original reference frame, when we looked at that originally, I was asking you, is that, are you using the Cinema 4D render engine? And he said, no, it's just, I said, is it gradients? He goes, it's gradients and noise. That was it. And it's still, it creates that same illusion of 3D.
Yeah, and then this other project that I finished, I finished it last year, but it came out not long ago. And it's a mix as well, like cell animation, but then it's comped in After Effects, and so it might be as well useful to see what part is cell, what and how everything comes together into a comp. So let's go dive into it.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Start with this.
A lot of nice comments on that. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Roland. Good to see you, Fernando. All right.
Yeah. We'll have to just keep it changing one. Cool. So I'll just go and add something here. Let's see. So for the shadows, I will go to in each of the layers. I will go in here, and I will go to layer styles, and I will add which one it is, inner shadow, and you can see like the beginning. It looks like this, but then you can add like distance on it, and the size is the one that will make the most difference. So it gets like soft and spread. And then the noise that will bring that noisy. Sometimes what happens is this beautiful mistake, which is obviously because it's a shape and it takes it takes the full form. It takes the full form.
But as you pointed out yesterday, because it's so fast for one, your eye you won't really.
That is true. That is true.
And by the way, and I think that's a great sort of point to make for those creating these kinds of things in terms of the perfection aspect of it. If it's so fast that you're not going to see it, don't wait. I mean, it takes enough time to create, right?
It takes good time to create.
Yeah.
You can depends. Obviously, it always depends on the
client,
your deadline, the client, and everything. But yeah.
Yeah, Nathan's saying, "Wow, I never thought of using inner shadow that way." Exactly. I mean, and this is like I'm not saying old school in a negative way. This is,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's a
traditional
traditional way of using it like that. So very, very cool.
Yeah, I mean, like it would take way more time if you go into Photoshop and go frame by frame,
Right.
which is what I did actually
Ah,
in this
really?
in this film. Like,
Okay.
basically animated in Photoshop, then brought everything into After Effects, comped it, then went back to Photoshop and make only one layer through what's this like. The full video is 4 minutes.
Right.
So one entire layer for these textures on the
Oh, right.
on some of the lines and all
lines,
that
yeah.
on the background lines. So that was quite a
wow.
time consuming, you know. But
I'm always extremely impressed when people show us animations
Yeah.
in Photoshop, which I think, again, a lot of people don't realize that you can actually even do that. The nice thing is, and I said this on day one, for those of you wanting to get into After Effects, I know just before, a lot of people were saying to Dacia and to Valentina, like, oh, this is so great, I've been intimidated. You know, if you know Photoshop, and especially if you know the keyframing concept in Photoshop, it's exactly the same here. So you really know more about using After Effects than you think.
Yeah,
it's
of
just,
course. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just diving, and
It's
it
all
works
about
natively with your
it's all
Photoshop
about
layers.
timing. Like software, at the end, it doesn't matter that much when you know the principles
Right.
of like animation and like what you said, like the curves and all
Right.
the panel to control the curves and all that.
Exactly.
Like it just doesn't matter which software
Right. They're
are
all
you
very
using.
familiar and similar.
But of course, After Effects is amazing.
Right,
So
that's
just
right.
keep using it.
That's right.
And I saw if some Nathan asked if you can change the position of the inner shadow, and yeah, you totally can. You just need to go into the layer styles, inner shadow, and you have the angle, so you can move as like if the light will be coming from another source point, like choke and different like size to make it like for example, here it removes the it will remove, if you increase the size, it will remove
those little bounding areas.
Bounding area, yeah.
God, it looks so good
yeah.
with just such a few simple tweaks like that.
Yeah, and again, like we will match this to the controller for the colors. So once you only need to change one color in the in the panel,
it goes
and
along
then
with
it
it.
will go along with it. So, which I'm gonna actually do now. Let's go in here. Color control, lock this panel here, and instead of this one, let's choose. So for this purple, I'll choose some. Let me just put this one so I can see which colors I'm actually.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know, so I will choose for this purple something that is like darker than the purple itself. In this case, it will be like this dark gray. And then we can just copy this this expression and apply it to the other layers in here. One really nice thing that like the new After Effects has is that in previous versions, when you try to copy a layer style into a layer that didn't have layer styles,
Right.
it will crash.
That's right.
But now that's completely fixed,
Yes.
which is amazing, and you can just like, I'm gonna save in case, you can just apply it to the next layer, and it's
It
all
just works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was a really pleasant surprise, and it's great. Yeah, and I mean it will copy with the expression in it already, so you just need to change this expression. What it says. I can just. It says like in the comp, like look at the comp Adobe Live version 1, which is the main comp. Inside that comp, look for layer color control, and in the effect color 4, the special feature color.
Right.
You know, so changing instead of color 4, if I say. For the color green, I want it to be the shadow to be the purple one, which is color 3.
Yep.
So I will just need to change to color 3, and that's it. And yeah, the same for the other ones. So let's take this one, copy it to which one is the next color. The next color is this dark gray. So if I'll leave I probably leave the dark gray without a shadow, and then the orange will have the purple again, which is color 3, right? So let's instead of color 1, let's do color 3. And, whoops, nope, not here.
Nope.
Yep, it's in the layer.
Yep.
Layer styles 1.
Now, how did you get started learning expressions? Did you?
Yeah, I mean, like,
This is a question people always have.
I do need to learn way more expressions that I know. I understand expressions,
Right, sure.
and if I see them written, like,
You get it.
I get it,
Right.
and I can apply them to other situations,
Right.
just copying them. You know, like I know what they're for and
Right.
and all that, but writing them, I can only write like very basic
Okay, yeah.
expressions. You
Yeah.
know, and there is tons of expressions out there.
Oh, yeah. Endless.
Yeah,
amounts.
endless amount
amounts,
of
yeah.
expressions. There is this online document. Let me see if I can actually find it here for you guys. After Effects. That a really nice guy from he's based in Vancouver, Jorge Canedo. He put together, and it's open. Like people, I think, are adding like new expressions and
They can
After
contribute
Effects.
to the list or whatever.
Yeah. There's the, what is it? Expressions. Let's see if I can find that. Well, I don't know exactly, but I know there is one document online that has like a lot of resources for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just endless, like really cool stuff that like for delaying layers, for like
Yeah,
it's just
everything.
endless the possibilities. Yeah.
I was going to say, so in fact, and I'll post it in the chat here in just a second. So we did a series, How to Make Great Videos, and I did a whole thing on using expressions. And I know 5, like the 5 most basic ones. And I referenced a couple of really cool sites. Again, that people just that people share them. I mean, it just makes the process of animating, and particularly if you're doing anything where there's repeat animation or there's so many
like a
benefits.
let's say a long explainer video that will
Exactly.
need like the same kind of movements over time.
Exactly.
It's great.
Yeah.
Like I do have like some of the ones that I use the most. I have them here in this
That's right,
this panel, so that's really convenient and useful to have them always available next to just one click away. So I did that. I put the shadows in here so we can see this.
Oh yeah.
This nice effect, and I will be adding some shapes inside the black.
Right, you
the
wanted
black
to do
one.
the kind of replicate the circles that were in that
yeah.
original.
I think what I might do is take it from the other comp. So let me take this. I'm gonna tidy up a bit the comp. Always have tidy comps, guys. Yeah.
That's right.
Saves.
Talked about this yesterday,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Good organization.
It's worth repeating.
It's worth it. Yeah.
It's worth repeating.
Not always easy to
Yeah.
get that happen, but it pays off.
Yeah. Let me get. So I'll create a folder here to. Another cool thing is like you can always import the After Effects projects into your new comps. So you will import this one. I can go into. Let me get here. Compositing comp. I'll get the background one. Yeah, I think I'll get this one imported. So I can take elements, basically to copy elements from one project to another. What I normally do is like I import that project in, I will extract from that project whatever I want to use and copy it into another folder project, and then I will reduce that project so it doesn't have more files that are needed in it. So keep it as light as possible as well.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find that link, by the way. Bear with me here.
Becomes background.
Here we go. Got
So this one, you can see these bubbles that I created for another of the templates. They're quite simple. It's just, to be honest, it's just circles in here. It's just circles that are moving across the screen. As you can see, the animation paths for these ones here. It's just that, and then in them, well, apart they all have controllers for the colors, and they have turbulent displays on top of it, so they can have like this weird, like a bit of a bubbly, evolving shape. And then I repeat just to have more of them on screen, because the title needed to be longer.
Right.
Like, I think it's 20 seconds.
Right.
So I just loop them or like copy them. So I'm gonna add these ones, this layer. I will just move these two comps away from, no, other one. These two comps away from here. And now I'll just put them in the pre-com folder. So I can close this, go back here, and let's say this one is the black, the black one. So what I will do, I will lay the bubble one on top, just to fit the position before. I will just solo it. I don't know if you know, guys, this button, but like
super
with
useful.
this, you will just solo these two layers, so you only see what you wanna see. So yeah, I think you have some of them happening in
cool.
there, and then just put the wave. I'm gonna use that same shape as a mask. To keep the mask only on that specific shape and only on that time. So I will put the shape on top, and I will tell layer 3, which is the bubbles, to take layer 2, that is the wave, as a mask.
Right.
And that you can do it with the track matte panel, that it's here, and you will say, in this case, we're going to use the alpha matte.
Not the inverted.
Not the inverted. I always...
I know. Yeah. It's one or the other, right? I know.
It's one or the other.
I make the same mistake all the time.
It's like when you put a USB stick on it's just 50% chance of getting it right, So yeah, this time was okay. So as you can see now, the shapes only stay on that side. I will just move these too much.
And I know it's a simple thing, Pablo, but I love, there's something about the imperfection of the circle themselves that just, again, you have that it's already very organic. That makes it even more organic and sort of, again, there's something just very lifelike about it, and very appealing.
Yeah, a bit more organic somehow.
Yeah, fluid, and it's really, it feels like a bubble, Which, can you feel bubbles?
Well, can you feel bubbles?
Maybe you feel them in here a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, that's it. And if we come back to the main comp, you see the entire reveal.
Good.
And
so good.
Yeah, I think more or less we can leave this.
I like this one more than the other one that you made. For
It's just more dynamic.
It is, and the motion is just so cool. Really, really cool.
Nice, definitely.
All right.
Cool. And then I'll show you now, guys, how to export it just to be able to use it somewhere else.
So this is kind of picking up if you're joining us and you've come from watching Dacia and Valentina. This is now the process where we go into the essential graphics panel, and effectively, as the motion designer, Pablo then decides, okay, so I'm creating this for Sean or for another editor. What do I want them to be allowed to edit? And what sort of stylistic things do we kind of leave?
Yes.
You can't change that.
Something is locked and something they can change.
That's right.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the beauty of authoring them in After Effects, which is that you can really determine exactly what goes in there very easily. You can even make multiple versions with different controls if you wanted to.
Yeah.
It's a really quick, easy process.
I see that Ryan is asking, how did you get those repeated circles and randomized size?
Right.
Is that an expression or with properties? Again, like I'm quite a old school person. So it's basically by hand. Like as you can see here, there I can show you. So there is not that many. There is like only 15 circles, and each of them is a different size. Let me come back here. You will see, for example, one that is on the screen right now. This one here. If I turn off the turbulent displays, this is just a normal circle, and it has 2 keyframes. One is out of screen, is there, and then the next one, it's over there. You know, in this case, I changed a bit the anchor point, so it's a bit. It's not. It should be there, where the mouse is circling, but it's a bit on the other side. But then you put a turbulent displays on it,
and that's what gives it that,
and it just gets that that size. And then it's just a matter of like just putting them a bit of over time. Just
now, you didn't even keyframe any change on the turbulent displays, right?
No,
that part of it is static.
It's just there. Yeah.
So that's something else, though. If you really wanted to give it even more
you
wobbly,
could,
floppy, floopy look, all of those parameters that are keyframeable.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like the amount, like even if you want them to look crazier at the beginning, and then like at the end they just like get more contained or something like that. All this is everything that has like the clock, the stopwatch. It's
all
keyframeable. So yeah, hope that answer your question, Ryan. Yeah, thanks for the explanation. No worries.
And Afid is asking, how do you make the turbulent displays loop? Any tricks?
That's a tough one, actually. Yeah, any tricks? How would I make that? I think like depends on the comp. You know, normally I would try to match a specific point in time. I will pre-comp that and displace it in time, trying to match the perfect moment that like it comes back to the. I think like here in the evolution, like once it comes to a full evolution, and then like try to match that. Sometimes you need to even play with like fading them with opacity, depending on how much you can get away with it having to be completely perfect, or if it's maybe you can get an element in the middle to just that moment where they both blend together and then repeat the circle, you know.
Because that's the thing when you're looping that stuff. There's going to be that, and someone was asking, it might even be in that video I just linked to, where especially if you do like a loop where even if it's sort of a back and forth, so not a come back to the beginning, but you just loop back from where it ended, there is either that slight pause, which you can accentuate with an ease to make it look more organic. But at the same time, if you're going back to the beginning again, there is that slight frame change.
So it's always
it's a little bit of matching, a little bit of fooling the eye.
It's always a bit tricky, but it's like what you say. Like it's always like magic. It's always like trying to fool. You know, like when someone's not looking, there is the change.
And if they can't see it, then it didn't happen.
So yeah.
But there will be one person that always sees it, though, right? There will be one.
Of course.
That they'll come on here next time and say, Pablo, you didn't fix that, you know.
You told me.
You told me.
Nathan says, my turbulent displays doesn't animate. Let me try and see. Solid, new comp. Let's do something quick.
Oh yeah, and Tim just chimed in. Yeah, you have to change the evolution.
Yeah.
Or it won't animate.
Okay.
Yes. He already got you.
They already.
Thank you, Tim.
Cool.
On top of it.
Nice.
As usual.
And so yeah, let's go with the exporting part of the process. So here we have the main comp with all that is happening, and it's actually super easy to export it into a mogrt. You will go to Window and bring up the essential graphics panel. So you will come here, and in the master option, it lets you select the comp you want to use. In this case, it's Adobe Live version 1. So you will see that, and it will tell you solo supported properties. So you click on there, and it brings up all the options in the timeline that you can actually bring into the Essential Graphics panel.
And just on that, and this is something we talked about as well on day one. Hey, Shonduras is here. What's up?
Hi, Sean.
Sean, we are missing you. We said it was the ghost of Sean was sitting right here moments ago.
Nice.
Oh, so cool, man. So cool that you're in
Yeah, great to have you here.
We were saying it on day one that the importance of solo supported properties is that there are some properties today that we don't allow you to make editable in the Mogrt for the Premiere user. Now, that may very well be changing soon.
Who knows?
But there are some properties, position being one of them, one of the most fundamental, that you can't drag in. But again, this was V1 of that. Things will be...
things are constantly evolving. You know, and this wasn't possible before. Now
a year
it's possible,
ago, that's right.
And in
that's
a year,
right.
who knows what will be possible.
Constant evolution, indeed. What's up, Robzilla?
Yeah.
Rob is back.
Nice.
All right, cool. Okay.
So yeah, like I added the color properties into the. I will change the name, so it will be called Transition Adobe Live, for example.
And it's worth pointing out too, like you could change the names of the colors here, but for this, not necessary really, because you're. Yeah.
Something really interesting, like for example, if you have several sections, like the color section, and then you will be entering into text instead of
lighting
having
section.
Everything that like you can edit. You can add like a comment part, and it will add basically as a separator.
That's right.
You know,
and it's great.
Then you can add the next. So you will just take this out here. And it will just add like a clean line to start the next section of editable content, which is great to keep, again, tidy everything and
it's a great way, like if you're handing this off to someone so they know, these parameters adjust the lighting here or this set of color ranges.
You can if I will put this on top, I can put like color controls, and it will tell me like this section is color controls, and then I will go to any other section, which is
cool.
really nice. And then it's a CCS export motion graphics template. The project needs to be saved. Let's save this project, and it will, as we said yesterday as well, like it can you can export it to the Essential Graphics panel, so it will be there when you open locally or with Adobe Creative Cloud.
So if you want it to be on any installation of Creative Cloud that you go to, then you would save it to your CC library.
The library, right?
And any library that you make. And in the case of like, for your next collaboration with Sean, if you guys set up a shared library together, you just save it to that library. Whenever he opens up Premiere, it's just there waiting. It's ready to go. Really simple.
So that
local drive is the way to
local drive, so you can like put it on an email and send it. So local drive, you will like whatever browse. Let's just put it for our purpose in here, renders, whatever in the finals folder.
So organized, very nice. Very nice.
I think like here you can, in the compatibility, you can choose if it wants the software to warn you if something is missing, like some fonts for the type kit that you can sync if you don't have them.
Right, which is so great.
Or something else. So you just click OK. Verify in typekit, that's done.
Boom, that's it.
And if we open, let's open Premiere if you want, and then we can show how to bring it in there.
It's worth pointing out too that when you save it locally, as Pablo just did, we were talking about this with Sean. I mean, especially for someone like Sean who's making content every day.
Every single day,
you know, ultimately you don't keep all that content lingering locally, so you're going to archive it. And maybe things will change. Maybe you'll eventually erase some of those mogrts in your libraries, or I don't know, kill all your libraries and make new ones. You know, having that .mogrt file saved locally means that you can package it up and archive it safely, so it's always available.
Definitely.
It'll always work. Really nice. Oh, Tati and Miles, nice to have you. Nice to see you back again, Miles. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Want to point out again, we've got 55 minutes. Today's challenge, working with animated lower thirds. So if you're watching on behance.net/live, go to the challenge tab. You can download a motion graphics template and a piece of video. Get creative. You've got 55 minutes, and you could be the lucky recipient of a year of Creative Cloud. You've got nothing to lose. Give it a shot. And by the way, you can also go rogue and do something entirely on your own. and just maybe use that lower third as a reference. But you've got 55 minutes. Also, at the top of the hour, in about 25 minutes, we've got a giveaway. The last 2 days, we gave away limited edition Premiere and After Effects pillows. Today...
This is a pretty cool giveaway.
No, it's not that heavy at all.
That's it.
The Adobe, I heard this is the bowling ball bag.
Yeah.
This is super sweet. First of all, it's in Adobe red. Oh, that's very significant. This is our perfect Pantone red here for Adobe. Super really nice bag.
Yeah.
Leather-ish.
Yeah, so you can go do some exercise after being on your computer the whole day.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Everybody needs bags to put stuff in, especially if you're a gearhead like yours truly. So 25 minutes, and that's going to be random. We will use our Adobe automated artificial intelligence bots, aka Gus, to sift through all of you, get some hype, and yes. Oh, hey, what's up, Jesper? Okay, cool. Cindy, how are you doing? Pleather, thank you, Roy. You're probably right. Yeah. The bag is really cool. Yeah, Sean, I'm sorry we didn't... Oh, yes. I will get your space helmet.
What is
it?
Bring it in.
Yes. I'm Pablo. How could I not have done that?
Exactly.
I feel like I let Sean down.
Just bring it in here.
Ground control to Major Sean. Oh, are we... it's kind of on the edge. We have to reframe our cameras. Oh, yeah, that's good. All right, we've got a little lower third going through there. There it is.
There we go.
Sean's
nice.
right there. All right.
You happy now, Sean?
But we can't hear him.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Nice.
Perfect. Oh, nice. All right, you can see it in the bottom corner. That's perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, it's like I'm there. Oh, man, thank you. And again, huge thanks to Sean for joining us the last 2 days, especially coming from Romania, having his luggage lost, his laptop.
Yeah.
You know, we were so grateful to have you on the show. And and do tell me, though, so everything good with the laptop, with your gear? Everything came back in one piece, hopefully?
Yeah, we want to know the end
Want
of
to
the
know.
story.
I mean, you know, don't leave us hanging, man.
Nice.
All right.
Have now reunited, yes.
Okay, very good. That's right. See, the chat, it was positive vibes. We knew it was going to come back to you. Yes.
Cool. So here in Premiere, I just imported like random footage to put something on top. So you go to the Essential, Browse, Install Motion Graphic Template, and you will go to the folder where the mogrt is, which in this case is the Adobe Live.
Which is sometimes the hardest thing, remembering where you put it.
Exactly, yeah.
Not creating it, just where the heck did I save that thing?
So in here, it will be the transition in Adobe Live, open, and it will be, which one is, the only thing, where is it? This one, Adobe Transition.
There it is, down there, yeah.
This one it is. So you just need to drop it in the timeline.
Yep, it just takes a moment to load in. Yep.
Yes, and here it is, you know.
So
there
cool.
it goes, you know. Well,
so cool.
And you will have the editable stuff, so you can change the colors.
And there's your comment at the top, as you mentioned.
Exactly.
Clean, easy, nice. And maybe just kind of show them just changing the colors because it's instantaneous.
Definitely,
so
yeah. If, for example, let's say, well, those red bubbles, I know what it is. I can show you now. So for example, this green, like if I take this and now I want it to be, let's say, blue, then okay, and it's blue, you know. So
and as you mentioned, the gradient look and the noise and everything that you added, it's all still there with the inner shadow.
You know? So that's great. I'll just go and I'll let you know why. So it changes. Nope. So the bubbles that were appearing in red on the other comp, that's because they also have expressions to look to the main control, the control layer, color control. But in this case, because I copied it from another project, in here it says look for comp 01 background, which doesn't exist. It's not the mogrt, you know. So you have to be really careful and go on here and tell it to look into Adobe Live version 1 and change everything so everything looks to the correct control. But
a little bit of user error there.
Yep.
Hey,
exactly.
That happens.
Yeah,
right.
and that's why you need to test everything
right.
a couple of times at least, so everything is good.
Nice.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this transition, guys.
Awesome.
Yeah. Were you thinking of showing something on
So
Premiere?
I thought maybe so you're going to get into the other comp.
Yeah, I'm going to set that up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And maybe just for 10 minutes or so, just talk real briefly about, because you're actually going to show how you created some of these different elements for different size screens, different aspect ratios.
But I normally do it like I pre-comp and I create like the different sizes of the comp, and I use that nested pre-comp to change the different sizes and for different platforms. But I think you have a way easier way to do it.
Yes, indeed. So this is a way to do it directly in Premiere Pro, because as of the October-November update of Premiere CC, we added responsive design-based motion graphics templates. And there's two elements to that. There's responsive design time, which will allow you to perform animations in a template. So just like what you had there, if you always wanted, let's say that mogrt, it had an animate on and off, let's just say for the sake of argument, you could control that the animation on is always the same duration and the animation off is always the same duration, regardless of how long you make the actual template, like in time.
Yes.
So that's responsive design time. That's one thing that we can do. The one we're going to focus on now, though, is responsive design positioning. So the idea here is now again, this is when you're creating them in Premiere. There's a way to do it in After Effects, but this is a really simple way to do it directly in Premiere Pro. So of course you have slightly more limited graphical options when you're creating these things directly. But the idea is that if you're making like a lower third or making some kind of very simple title sequence, or in the case of like what Sean's doing, where you're repurposing video content, but you want to use the same graphical elements using responsive design positioning, you can basically pin elements to a specific position in the video frame, and then you can also pin other elements to other elements so that they always maintain the exact same position, the same flow,
that's great.
Regardless of whether it's widescreen or square or vertical or whatever.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd just take a couple minutes and kind of show that.
For sure.
And just give me a second here. Oh, you're seeing, by the way, this is a motion graphics template right there that you're looking at. I did not.
It's not another game.
It's not another game.
It's not another game.
It's super cool, that one. Oh yeah, and this is, by the way, this is one of Andrew Kramer's motion graphics templates right there.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And I've got some glitch. This was from a demo where I was just. It's all
some nice glitch.
all over the place. There's all kinds of stuff going on here. I was just trying to showcase layering things on top of things on top of things, and it's kind of endless. All right, so let me just quick switch my workspace and make it so I can see what I'm doing. And let's make a new one here. So I think I'll grab, which one do I like? I'll do this one again. I just love this clip. This clip is also an Adobe stock clip. All right. So let's play this real quickly. So here's what we're looking at. All right. So that's what we're dealing with here. That's what this video looks like. Okay. So we're just going to simply add some text to this right now. So again, the process of creating motion graphics in Premiere Pro. Now notice, by the way, the essential graphics panel. So it looks a little bit different in Premiere. Conceptually, same kind of idea. If you want to begin, you simply grab the type tool and you can just start typing on canvas. So this is one of the newer innovations that we added in this last release, was the ability to do that, which is just really simple and easy. Choose your font, again, for compatibility purposes, and the ability to, again, reuse this anywhere on anyone's system with CC. I choose Typekit fonts.
Yep.
It just ensures compatibility with anyone you're going to share this with. Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense. And even if you yourself license a bunch of fonts in Typekit and then take them off and do a bunch of others, and then you pull this template out a year later, if you don't have that font, it'll say, oh, would you like me to synchronize that for you in the background?
And it's done.
And it's done. It's really simple. So I'll go into, let's use like Museo.
Sean says, if we all promise to be really good and pay attention, can we please play Bubble at the end? We'll do.
All right,
play at the
you
end.
got it, man. In fact, we were talking about you and talking about the game when we started.
So.
Okay. So coming up with some real original content right there. Space the final frontier. Okay, so I'm going to make a text layer. And again, the Essential Graphics panel, when you're building a template in Premiere, you're effectively building up a layer stack of content. So this is our Essential Graphics. This is our layer stack. This button that you see here, new layer. So from here, we can also create additional text layers. And by the way, we also added a vertical type tool, rectangle or ellipse. By the way, if you just choose the pen tool, this will allow you to do a freeform shape, so you're not confined only to that. And then you can also import elements from a file. So if you had your logo that you've already exported out of Photoshop, you know, like as a ping with transparency, you can import that
And
have it there. You can bring in Photoshop files, layered Photoshop files, and you can choose which layers appear in the motion graphics template, or you can merge them all together. You even have the ability to import video into the motion graphics template. So lots of things you can do. In this case, and this kind of speaks to the cool nature of the responsive design positioning, I'm going to create a little bounding box around this, and then we're going to show kind of some cool things and how that works. I'll go ahead and select rectangle, and I'm going to disable the fill but turn on the stroke. And let's just make it like two pixels here. I'll grab my move tool. Let's move this up here, and I'll just kind of drag this around the text, something like this. All right, and then I'll do the same horizontal align so I know that it's perfectly centered around the text there. Okay. Now, the reason I did that is because what I want, there's two things that I want to happen here. First of all, I always want to have that box around that text.
Yep.
But more importantly, if I change that text, because we're doing a template. So this week, this episode is Space the Final Frontier, original thought. Next week, it'll be Space, it's not the Final Frontier. So that box would need to change, it would need to grow.
And adjust to the text accordingly.
And adjust to the text accordingly. So this is where now we're going to take advantage of this little section of Essential Graphics in Premiere called Responsive Design Positioning.
Great. Yeah.
So here what I can do is I can say, okay, well, first of all, I want the shape to be pinned to the text layer, and specifically all points of the text layer, okay? And then you have the text pinned to the video frame. Now, for the moment, we're not gonna change the position. We're gonna get into that in just a second, okay? So the shape is pinned to the text layer, all 4 points of the text is positioned, is pinned to the video frame itself. So
Hi Valentina.
Oh, hey Valentina.
Yeah.
We are continuing.
She was doing great before us. She's been streaming the other 2 days as well, and I mean, she's great. She's killed it. So
awesome. So actually, Valentina, I was just saying you were talking a lot about source rect at time here in Premiere, showing kind of the very simplistic way to do a responsive text box with mogrts. So I don't know if you just noticed, but as I typed that text now, the box grows and flows. And
great.
let's say I wanted to do a second line. It grows and flows. You know, forever changing. Get very deep with these things. Whatever it is, you get the idea. It grows and flows here today. Okay. I have no good concepts to put into this text. All right. So, pinning the shape to the text layer, all 4 points. But now we're going to use this kind of as like a pseudo lower third. So, and in fact, I want this to appear in the bottom left-hand corner of the video. So let's go back to our original Final Frontier because I want a bit more text. All right. The Final Frontier. Okay, Frontier.
Valentina asked, what if you want to make it left justified?
Ah, yes, indeed. So now I've had it center justified. Typically when I'm doing a position, of course now if you look down below here, you have all of the same, or very similar, I should say, paragraph type options that you do in Photoshop, After Effects, Illustrator. When I've found for best compatibility for responsive design position pinning, I typically like to do a center justify. If you know that things are going to be, like if you're focusing on having things less left justified to be, say, as a lower third, that also works really well too. I've noticed sometimes with certain aspect ratios, it can be slightly off position. So I'll be honest, I don't make millions of these and test them on every format all the time. So you can change that though. And it's as simple as just selecting that text layer and going to the justification. So in this case, I want this now to be down here. All right, and someone asked, I think it was during Valentina's stream about, oh yeah, because you guys were talking about grids, and someone mentioned the grid effect, which I use a lot because we don't have just standard grids or grid lines like in Photoshop. I will typically use the title safe, action safe margins, particularly when lower thirds are involved. So I'll do something like this, and stick this sort of down here. And again, then I'll just disable them because now I know that's where I want it to be. And I always want it to be in that position. In fact, I'm just gonna make it a little bit higher, all right? Move it over a little bit more, like this, okay? So now, specifically, I want the text layer to be pinned to the video frame, but I always want it to be in that bottom left-hand corner.
Right? Yeah.
So, and again, roughly in that same degree of pixels up and to the right, okay? So now you've got the shape pinned to the text, the shape layer, the box, and then you've got the text pinned to that bottom corner of the video.
So it will grow up when you add more
exactly.
more text.
And if you were to animate that, again, it'll respect that same position. So just as Pablo showed moments ago, now we're sort of ready to create the template. So here I can just right-click or control-click, choose to export this as a motion graphics template. We'll give it a name, and I'll call this space L3D, okay? And this has got the same, again, those compatibility things. Warn me if this motion graphics template uses fonts that are not available on Typekit, all these kinds of things, all right? And I'm going to save it to my CC library. This is where I put all of my things. If I wanted to package this up to you, I'd save it locally, or I could also just create a library for me and Pablo, and it'll always be there to share. Click OK on that. It has now made our motion graphics template. So let's go ahead and delete this, all right? And I'm gonna go up to my sequence settings up here. And instead of 1920 1080, let's just make this 1080 by 1080, all right? So square, like that, all right? So now if I go into my libraries, go ahead and grab this, stick it up over here so you can see it. There is our space lower 3D, and I love this just because it tells you, like, made in Premiere, how long it is, how big it is. You can see they're amazingly small. Go ahead and drag this in, and there it is, right? So it didn't end up sort of off screen or in some other weird position. It's in the same relative position in the bottom left. Similarly, let's take the same sequence again, and now let's do 720 by 1280. Okay. Now people have asked too, like, okay, so yeah, now you've got, letterboxing. Well, right, because it's a 16:9 video,
happens.
so that's okay.
Like I'll show you now in After Effects like how I did overcome that that problem.
That's right.
More manually, obviously.
More manually,
you need
but
to, but as a something that is completely automatic,
right?
It's great. Yeah,
it's great.
It's fine. Yeah.
But the idea again is now we want to use that same template, right? So I'm doing my Snapchat story or my Instagram story. I want to use that same kind of fly on screen or whatever. By the way, I didn't even animate that, but all the animation will respect that positioning as well. Let's grab the lower third again, drag it in here, and there it is. Same position, same place, reformatted for vertical, square, 16:9, 4:3. Whatever your preference.
That's great.
So so responsive design pinning, really simple. And I know there were some questions before about, well, can you edit after you make that mogrt in After Effects? Can we edit that mogrt in After Effects? The answer to that is no. And if you were given the .aep, the After Effects project file, yes, you could edit and make a new one. You can't edit the .mogrts once they're made. Premiere-based motion graphics templates, however, everything that you do in here is fully editable, always. So again, you can see all the pinning relationships are still here. Let's say after the fact that I wanted to add something like a master style. So, the first episode was fine, kind of just plain text, but now Sean wants a bit of a drop shadow or some kind of inner glow or something. You can add a master style So we could create one. We don't have one just yet, but just to make a point here also, I'll call this Sean style, okay? And let's say that we added something like a shadow to it or whatever, and a stroke. I'm just turning things on. Now what you see is it says, oh, it's been modified. So what this allows you to do is you can actually push, or rather sync from the original master style to bring it back to normal, or you can push this change
to be the normal,
state,
the master style,
master style again. So totally flexible, really easy. And in this case, we would just create another motion graphics template from this. It doesn't automatically just overwrite the existing.
That's great. Yeah, because like sometimes
it
what
makes
if
sense,
what if
right?
you push it by mistake? You know, it's good to save as many previous versions.
I think so. And you saw they're so small in general, especially if you're not adding video in them. Why not?
Yeah,
you know.
definitely.
Now, one other thing there too. It will allow you to name it the same. So, you know, if you named it space lower third, and then you name this one space lower third, they don't
have 20 of them.
They'll just have the same name, and they'll appear in your libraries, you know, the upper left-hand corner. This is the most recent.
Yeah.
And I think, you can also do it as a list.
Yeah.
So I guess it shows up at the top. Yeah, so most recent is up at the top there. But it's just kind of a nice, I like that. I know some people have said, why doesn't it just automatically overwrite the original? And maybe that's coming, but I'm with you.
Some people like it, some people don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry. And, you know, if these were massive files, yes, I would understand. But in general, for basic text,
they're
so tiny.
I was really impressed. Like, they're like so small, and you can send. You could do 1,000 of them and still send them in an email.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
right.
And, you know, having said that, yes, you could send someone 1,000 mogrts, whereas yesterday someone sent me, it was some kind of PowerPoint, or no, it was a Keynote doc, and it was like 137 megs in email.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, which, yes, in the office here, not a problem, but still, you know, it's kind of a big attachment for
pretty big
Apple Mail to handle there. So, nice. Okay, so any other cues in here? All right. Oh yes, we've got 3 minutes. Munash is very much
for the bag.
He wants that bag.
Yeah.
All right. You could be the lucky winner.
Of course. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, 173 megabyte Keynote. I know. It was, believe me, it's funny because I saw it come in on my phone. I didn't try to open it on the phone, but you know what, Tim? I have no idea what was even in there. I didn't bother downloading it yet. It's probably got some.
And that's what you get when you said 173 megabytes.
That's what happens.
You know, you just don't download it.
I didn't download it, right? And it's funny because I'm using a webmail client while I'm here. Something happened on this machine with mail, so even worse. Like I'm in a webmail client, you know, and so I didn't download it. But yes, I think there's some it's little videos. It's still like a marketing thing. So no doubt there's some MP4s in there. It doesn't take long to get to 173 megs if you've got even HD video. You know, 30 seconds at 16 megabits could be 75 megs for sure or more.
Someone says it is better to learn Premiere or After Effects first. I think completely depends on you. Like it's two softwares that are for a completely different purpose.
Yep.
One is to create motion graphics and animation and or VFX if you like all that, and it's and the other one it's more for editing. You can obviously put like effects on things and use templates and all that, but the possibilities that After Effects bring you to create motion graphics are completely unlimited compared to Premiere.
Right.
But on the other side, if you want to edit, which since I don't use Premiere, when I need to edit something, for example, my last reel, I did it in After Effects, and that's definitely not the way it should be done, because Premiere allows you to, if you have sound, it previews the sound at the same time, and After Effects, it's a bit lacking on that side because it's not for that purpose. So
unless you know the keyboard shortcut, and then you scrub through it, but you get the
exactly,
exactly. There we go with the sound effects, Sean. If you're still listening, right? Digital scrubbing.
Is there a length limit on After Effects? Not that I know of, but you wouldn't want to get into a 2-hour feature film on it anyway. So
and actually, that's a great point because people always ask, like, well, can you edit in After Effects? Can you edit in Photoshop? Oh, Tim just said it. Can you edit in Photoshop? Absolutely. And Photoshop even has, it's not Premiere exactly, but in Premiere we have, this is what we refer to as fractional playback resolution. So basically this is just allowing you to see fewer pixels on screen to get better real-time performance, assuming your machine can't handle it. It's not doing anything to the original footage. So you've got playback fractional resolutions, and then you've got paused fractional resolution.
Is it the same? Is it exactly the same as the half resolution in After Effects, or
similar? It's not. This is actually using
I don't know
our
about Premiere. That's why.
This is using our Mercury playback engine.
All right.
This similar functionality. So it's more similar in Photoshop's timeline. That's actually where Photoshop got that from, right? The After Effects one, it's conceptually it's the same. I don't know that it's using the same.
What
tech.
you see at the end,
that's right,
as a user is the same, but
is ultimately the same.
Doesn't work.
But so Photoshop has that. But the thing is, by nature, After Effects is not a real-time app. It's not a real-time video app. You're doing frame by frame, and then you're previewing, and then you see real-time. Photoshop's sort of the same idea. So you can edit in both, and if you're comfortable, I mean, you said it, you edited that one in Photoshop. That's amazing. It's not as ideal if all you're doing is editing, but if that's what you're familiar with, you can absolutely do it. And I know many visual effects artists who, there is, particularly if you're a keyboard shortcut user.
Like a master.
They're just so fast that they're trimming and cutting and moving. They're as fast doing it,
of course,
if they were in an NLE, but in After Effects. So just personal preference. All right.
What else do we have?
Is it
time for the
it is.
Giveaway,
I believe it is time for our giveaway. So let's bring in the bots. We need some chat. We need some chat hype.
Yeah.
Give us some hype in the chat. It is time.
Make you notice.
I don't know if you can see
who's gonna be
the Adobe logo on there too, embossed on there. Very nice. I don't know why this just made me think of the movie 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag, but it's irrelevant. Bubblecano, nice.
Yes.
Who's it gonna be? This is a really nice bag, actually. Really great handles. I'm someone who I always look at the handles and things, right?
That is true.
These are the first things that tend to
you have
fray.
them, like, if it's plastic, it will break up, and suddenly you're in the middle of in an airport.
Right.
And,
It's happened countless times. Or some of them like this is solid metal. I've got this really awesome bag, and they were like fabric.
Yeah.
Almost like a hair tie. And they all pulled off, and so it's well constructed. Yes, perfect for workout.
It's not orange, it's red.
It is red. It is Adobe red.
Yeah.
It may not. I can't guarantee our color calibration going through.
So far,
looks pretty good though.
The frame. That's red. That's red as well. Yeah, this is red.
Covering my face. Looks pretty good. Travel tags on there. Okay.
So
the winner is
Mark von Duans.
Mark von Duans. Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
Marvelous.
It's something. You're still in the chat. Nice.
All right. Congratulations, Mark.
For the rest, just keep trying.
Keep plugging away.
Yeah, we have the next
challenge.
Challenge, and the next live we will have.
That's right. There'll
Jake
be another one.
And Evan that will be here, and you'll have again another chance
to
win something. So,
yes, indeed. So if you didn't win just now, there is still time. Jake and Evan will be giving away another one of these too, so you want to stick around for that.
For
also, don't forget our challenge. 25 minutes, you can be the recipient of a year of Creative Cloud.
Yeah, yesterday we had some really cool submissions. Really great stuff.
And like we said, this is the last day here, so you want to get those in. You got nothing to lose. It's fun. Go ahead and try make your own what I just showed you. Make some cool mogrts with some responsive design, or grab some of Valentina's, or grab some of Pablo's on Adobe stock, or just use the one that we gave you, and but do something cool with it. If no one enters and one person enters with the default stock template, they're going to win.
Of course.
So
how many we had yesterday? 8, 9.
I think we had 8 or 9, and a few came in a little after, so they went into Evan's. We want to try and beat the submissions.
Definitely.
By the way, Dana's asking, is it easy to go from Final Cut to Premiere? So, Dana, we've actually made it a lot easier over the years in one way, and this goes back to, once again, keyboard shortcuts. Most editors that I know, I'm probably one of the few that I know that doesn't really use any, because I've just never retained them for a variety of reasons. But we can map directly to all of Final Cut's keyboard shortcuts, first and foremost, with the keyboard shortcut editor. So if that's sort of part of your workflow, that certainly makes the transition easier. Even if you're trying to transition but still use the two, we also allow you to import FCP7 XML, and there's a third-party plugin that will convert FCPX XML so that we can read that for Premiere. So you can even start doing it there and bring those projects into Premiere. It's pretty similar, really.
Yeah, but I mean, I have to say that Premiere has like a really friendly interface, and it's really easy to change software and learn Premiere.
Yep.
I think it's really accessible for everyone.
It's really accessible, and as we discussed the other day too, I mean, one of the great benefits of using Premiere outside of any other NLE, particularly in the case of motion design, titles, graphics, overlays, is that most of that content is generally built in Photoshop or Illustrator.
Yeah.
Well, those files are all native among our applications.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it means that everything can always, you can drop a Photoshop file into Premiere, and it's live and editable.
Yeah.
And you never have
you
to
can
flatten.
just click, go back to Photoshop, and then it will
change
back to
Premiere,
right?
Yeah. So similarly, After Effects, bring in Illustrator artwork, bring in Photoshop files, and that's really one of the great benefits. So you want to go all Adobe, and hey, listen, we want that too. But we also understand that there is that transition period, and it's not just on off. There's a path though. There's a path, and as you said, it's accessible.
Yeah. So you're welcome here.
And the UI is friendly.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
So you wanna jump into some more After Effects stuff?
Yeah.
And so we have. Well, a bit on the note that we were saying. For example, I was working on this project for Adobe tutorial back in November. So you can see, as I played at the beginning, it's all done in After Effects. It's all shape layers and shapes and bouncing circles and all that. The only file that it's directly from Photoshop is that guy, that fella that is appearing here. And of course, I planned this as a square format, like this, just to be able to share it on Instagram, and which is the main platform I share stuff in. But then obviously it's like, it would be cool to do it and share it in other platforms, right? So basically, I did create like in After Effects. I have the same, like a different comp size, and I just use the main square comp to have it on that timeline. And I manually, like, it's not as in Premiere that is completely automatic, but I manually adjusted in this case, instead of like if it would be 100%. Where is it? This one, instead of being 100%, if it would be 100%, it will look like this, So just put it down to 40%, and it does look. Just choose a nice background that fits the color palette, and you have it in another format, or for a dribble, for example, or something like that.
Yeah.
So you just need a bit of a work around and just spend some extra minutes on it, but still it's really easy.
I like the point that you just made though about having sort of the complementary background, because now looking at it like this, you wouldn't necessarily think, this was designed to be square only.
Yeah. Exactly.
So again,
it could
it's
be
that
designed to
you're fooling.
Exactly.
Fooling
because
the viewer.
sometimes you see like in reels or something, you see people that, for example, let's say this background, it's here, but if this would be completely black, let's say, that you see it quite a lot, like this,
Right.
or if instead of being there in the middle, kind of nicely positioned, it would be like that. You get that.
Yeah, you
It's
get the-
been randomly
right,
converted.
the
you
pillar
know?
boxing, right,
You know,
which
and
is
it doesn't look that appealing. You
No,
know,
it's not nice.
So I think spending like 30 extra seconds,
right.
which doesn't take any more than that, and it
But
just looks like it's been created that
Right.
way.
And that's a great style tip too, because you're right. Before you showed that, actually, I was thinking, okay, I wonder what he's going to do to scale it, and I wonder if you're going to scale it.
Yeah,
This is way better.
you know. So yeah, it looks like, I don't know, like a frame in a wall. or
Yeah,
something
no,
like that,
it's
you know,
really
whatever.
really appealing.
Yeah.
Really nice.
And so yeah, like I can show you, I can walk you through a bit.
Yeah, let's
of
dive
this
into
project,
this one.
just so you guys can see like how I work and my process. So I started doing some sketches for this. It always starts with sketches, doesn't it? And let me show you. So for example, this was one of the early sketches.
nice. Okay.
You see how shit this is. You know, this is pretty bad. You know, but still, can I see?
You already did.
Sorry.
No, it's all right.
Yeah.
Hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's all right.
If there is kids watching this, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So yeah, then it transformed into cleaner lines,
Nice.
you know, from the sketch to here. Like I made some notes, like I wanted to bring like tension and feel
Right.
like the guy inside is really
really
pushing
right, yeah.
pushing it, while the shapes are forcing him inside. Then cleaner lines, then it transforms into some color.
And this was
clean.
done with your larger Cintiq?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But in this case, like because it's quite a lot of shapes and you can create it
Right.
with the pen tool
Right.
and that,
Right.
it can be done. It's
On a
quite
smaller-
geometric, so
yeah.
it can be done with even with a mouse or even
Sure.
the trackpad. You know,
Sure.
like I find more difficult to do like waves and fluid movements with just this small tablet. But for things that are quite geometric and you can create just with the normal
Right.
Photoshop tools,
Right.
you know, like
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I think people forget that too. If you're really just using a lot of geometric shapes,
Yeah.
the accuracy is in the tool itself. You don't have to be too
Yeah,
concerned
exactly.
with
Then of course one of the main things
that.
is
I like
choosing
that. Yeah, I love
choosing
that.
a color.
So good.
This is one of the most difficult parts that I go through in general. Like I just try a lot of color palettes. Adobe has this amazing. It was before it was Adobe Cooler.
That's right. That's
now
right.
It's
It's part of Capture CC.
yeah,
right?
exactly, which is amazing. You can even like with Capture CC, you can take a picture
Yep.
and it will create a color palette based on that picture, which
Yep.
is mind blowing.
Which is amazing.
That was really cool.
And the cool thing about that too is, especially for someone like myself, who outside of my font anxiety, I have just general design anxiety.
Yeah.
Full stop. I couldn't tell you anything about complementary colors. It stresses me out. But if you take a picture of something that you like or something that you want to use, I love the palette. But you're not really, I don't know, what colors are those? You snap a photo, it creates the ASE, the Illustrator, it creates the swatch for
So
you.
you can just directly introduce it
In
into
After
the-
Effects,
yeah.
and then it's all there. I mean,
great.
it's really,
Yeah.
and again, these things populate your CC libraries. So I say in After Effects, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
You create that swatch and capture CC, which actually I think Valentina and Dacia, I think they used it yesterday. Yeah, I think they were, right? Was Valentina still in
maybe.
chat? I think they were using that yesterday, or maybe it was Monday. Can't remember. Or Tuesday. In any case, Adobe Capture CC available for both iOS and Android. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And I
is
love,
great.
so now I was going to ask you though, even with Sean, so were those sort of colors that, like brand colors for him, or did you come up with that palette of these?
So the brand colors for him are they are the ones that then he changed to.
Okay.
You know,
Ah,
these
okay.
ones were like the ones I chose. It was more because I found
Just
them.
felt it
You
and
know, I
that
just
was it.
felt that it was a nice color palette. I normally like quite like vivid colors, and you can see, as you can see here, and so yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to choose a color palette.
I was going to say,
but,
I really love
Yeah.
all of them, and it's kind of amazing how.
It's a bit like Warhol.
Yeah, well, it is. I was going to say it's very
Composition,
Warhol,
right? Yeah.
and you get completely different feelings
Yeah.
from some of them.
Yeah,
Some of
exactly.
the
You know,
darker
like that's the
hues,
thing. Like,
that's right.
For
I
example,
feel the
one
struggle
I went for,
with these.
Yeah. Some of them, like you directly feel like, oh, probably doesn't work that good.
It's
but,
too deep.
You know, yeah.
It's too much meaning in
But
that
some
one.
of them are like
Love
more,
that.
you know, like more like stronger, bolder colors. This is more like soft and soothing, I guess. you know?
Now, with
So,
these kind of palettes, and let me ask you, and this is just a personal question, but sort of, I mean, obviously, with each design era, which could be what, 2-3 years these days. I don't want to say generation.
It goes so fast.
It changes.
It does
Do
change.
you think there are some that are like, because I look at this and to me, all of these look modern. Any one of those could be very now. Again, this is something that I struggle with. Like, are my palettes too, you know, Summer of Love 67? Because my mind just goes there, or
does it matter?
does
you
it
know,
matter?
I think like it's how you apply those palettes that matter, really. You know, like I don't think the colors you choose. I mean, of course there is color theory,
Right.
and some colors are more pleasant,
Right.
and you need to learn that a color is complementary to other colors and that they fit together.
Right.
You know, so you don't find like grays and browns,
Right.
you know,
Right.
like which they can look good, you know, like they can definitely look good.
if you look at
know?
some of my designs, Pablo, you might see
but,
those two
you know,
together.
so they can definitely look good, you know. But so there is color theory and things that you can learn about color, and depending if you're working for a client,
Right.
Depending on the briefing and the emotion you're going
Right.
for, of course, that you have to take color into account because it's like, you know, for example, McDonald's, like you see red and yellow in so many places
Right.
because that brings attention and makes you hungry, you know?
Right.
Yeah,
Totally,
so,
right. And there's the red, the
Yeah.
passion, the fire, immediacy.
Yeah.
Tima was asking, is there a tutorial we can follow for your AE illustration animations?
Not really. Some people has asked for it, so it might be an idea at some
Yeah.
point, but right now there's not. Sorry.
Now, of course, Tima, I know you just joined us today. Here on Behance or on the Adobe Creative Cloud YouTube channel, you can watch the replays and actually see. So the animation we began with, Pablo created that here over the last 2 days. So you can actually see his process.
Yeah, that one you can see the process here.
and see every
completely.
step and how it was done and
I
began
mean,
in.
you can
animate.
always go on my like. I'm always happy to answer questions and all
Nice.
that. So yeah,
Nice. Oh,
you
see,
have.
Yadira, love those color combos. I know. It's amazing to me because it's just I don't have that.
Yeah.
I don't have it. It's in you, man. I can feel. You probably studied color theory.
There's
It's
a lot
it's
of,
in you.
No, not really. Like it's all self-taught, and it's just like just trying.
Yeah.
You know, like
I
lot of Pinterest.
That's a
stuff,
lot of
you
Pinterest.
know?
Well, and that's
You
another.
know,
But
the thing, you
that's
know?
another great thing too,
You
though.
just learn.
You know what?
By
Well,
watching.
since we're just talking about color so much, and we've got 12 more minutes for the chat. I mean for the challenge. Easy for me to say. So here, actually, let's switch positions for a
Yes.
second. Maybe we'll go.
You're
to the
gonna show
GoPro.
how it.
Yeah, well,
it works.
just like giving a very brief
Yeah.
example of Capture CC.
This is nice.
I was gonna say
Nice one.
that'll be
Yeah,
a perfect
that's
one.
A perfect one.
So
Can we switch to the?
yeah, I guess I don't know if the GoPro is still
Oh,
got
maybe.
it. That's my system there. There we go.
Yeah,
Aha,
perfect.
Okay, so this is Capture CC, and I don't know if you can see there. So there's 5 different elements. So the first is shapes. So this is you can take a photo of something. This is what it had to have been Valentina and Shameless Maya. Allows you to take a picture of anything and instantly create a vector. This is amazing. You want to vectorize a logo. You want to vectorize, these are actual, I needed some buttons for an animation I was doing. So I was sitting in front of my mixing controller and I just snapped the buttons and now I've got vectorized buttons for After Effects. You can see I was vectorizing, this is actually from my Moog Rogue synthesizer. That's the Moog logo there. It's very hard to do. All right, lighting.
Cool.
This here, these designs, these are some t-shirt designs that I was doing. Put Your Pants On Because Your Daddy Told You is a song of mine. It's a children's song. That was hand lettered by our previous creative resident Christine Heron, who's an amazing hand lettering and stuff. Anyway, and you can even create vectors from, this is, selfie image.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is very narcissistic, but, something you can do. So that's one element. Then you've got type. This is one of the newest additions to Capture CC. This is the coolest thing ever. And here, let's see if I can find...
like a type, and it will recognize the type.
Yeah, so here, we're going to do this right now. So here's the, we've got our space helmet here. Now, you can't see exactly, but there's a little logo on this sticker, all right? Now, that's obviously not any particular logo. It's probably just hand-created anyway. But I'm going to take a picture of that. Let's see if it'll find something that's similar. And then what I do is you take a picture, and then you have to kind of tell it, all right, this is where the text is. It lives inside this blue box. So I'm just going to confine it to this. Now, granted, this text is bent. This is a hard example. I don't know what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. But it's going to look for...
it has a lot of stars around, so it might pick up something.
Yeah, I don't know how well it's going to work. Let's give it a shot. So you go ahead and click OK on that. And what it does is it goes up to Typekit, and then it returns a whole bunch of different fonts. And I don't know if you can see there. Actually, that's really cool. So that's June Gull Beach.
Not exactly,
it's
but
not exact,
it's still...
but it does similar.
That's a crazy font. Yeah.
And then you can see it's just got others. I mean, some of these are... Okay, that's like symbols. That one actually
that one
looks,
is pretty... Yeah, that's more aligned.
That's called Good Times, Bad Times. Wow, that's actually pretty cool. And take a look at the P by Picky right there.
Yeah, it took it,
It's very similar. I mean, so...
I mean, you can see that it's taken things like because it's made like thread.
Exactly.
So it's taken that into account.
The texture into account, which is freaking amazing. Here's the thing. If you've got, again, a magazine, a poster, some online thing that you've done, and they go, God, what was that font that Pablo did? This will find it. And then, so let's say I want this, Good Times, Bad Times, and I'll say, okay, save. Now, similarly, again, this lets me save it, and I'll call this Space Helmet, to my Typekit fonts. And if we were on my desktop right now, and I'm putting it, you see, in Jason's library, it would say, okay, yep.
And it will directly sync with your desktop computer?
It's waiting for me.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, it's amazing.
That is amazing.
But this is the other one that we were talking about, which is color. So this was originally, it was called Adobe Cooler. That was the
original
the original
platform.
app.
Yeah.
And then there was Adobe Color CC, which was a standalone app. And then a lot of these smaller apps became all one.
All Capture.
All with Capture, exactly. So as Pablo was saying, so if we wanted to kind of get a color palette, there's really only 3 colors on here.
But still,
let's see what it does.
It does work.
So again, we're going to take a picture. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, oh, and by the way, this is what's really cool, which I don't know if you can see. Let me get something. See if I can find something that has some color on it. Okay, I'll use. These are good.
Yeah.
Don't use my credit card. Don't use that.
all your numbers on the
don't want
internet.
that. All right.
Can you turn it the other way?
Yeah, turn it the other way.
The security number as well.
So what? I don't know if you can see it here, but
it does change.
So it's looking at the picture underneath, and then it's finding the color bubbles. It's creating these color bubbles that represent those same hues. So like, here's my Starbucks card. All right. Let's go ahead and just take a picture of that. And at the top, do you see? It's creating the palette.
On the go,
On the go.
That's so good, yeah.
So I take a picture of that, tap to freeze. All right? And I go, look, there's our palette.
That's great.
That's crazy, right?
That's pretty crazy.
I mean, that's it. That's the palette right there. And that green, that's the Starbucks green. It pulled that. Amazing. So I say okay on that. And then again, you've got editing capabilities here. You can see you can adjust. This is all these little tool tips. You can adjust the various hues to your liking. There's also, I can't remember now, is it this? Oh yeah, so this is where you can choose analogous, monochromatic. We're talking about color, right?
Yeah, you can choose,
complementary colors.
Or monochromatic.
So here's complementary. Yep. Or here's monochromatic, or here's compound colors. It's endless. You go ahead and click save. Again, color theme, CC library. and it's waiting for you when you're done.
So easy, so many,
So cool. So
Nice.
that's all. But that was great to point out because
Yeah.
this is so useful. In fact, I'm gonna go back because I actually like I like that.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna keep that one.
Save for another.
Save for another day. I do some
Nice.
Starbucks branding.
Yeah,
All right.
Definitely. Yeah, that was great.
Great suggestion.
Great to know.
Great
Yeah.
suggestion. So, all right, one more reminder. We've got about 5 minutes until the challenge is up. So you've got 5 minutes to get your submissions in. Let's take a look here and see how many millions we have. And we have 2 million entries. And by that I mean we have 2. There are 2 entries right now. You got 5 minutes. Come on now.
Let's do that, guys.
And it's
One full year.
It's a full year.
You know?
Yeah.
It's
All right, you got 5 minutes. Okay.
So yeah, meanwhile, I can walk you a bit more through this process. So after that, I made some, not only that guy, but I did some other to just establish completely the vibe, and I did some other style frames, for example, for these ones.
You've got a little noisy texture
exactly. Yeah, same like what we talked yesterday about, like, for example, this. I don't know if you guys can see it from there, but the lines have like a bit of a rough edges.
Right, they're not.
In general, it's
perfectly
just
smooth.
created in After Effects, and they're completely perfect. But then there is an
Displays.
adjustment layer with displays. So they have that texture and hand-drawn kind of
And it just
feeling.
it does. It feels.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I even asked you on day one, and it's so hard to tell now because obviously with the stylus and just the tools that we have, line strokes. If you're using a pencil, like an Adobe Draw.
Yeah.
If someone printed that, it would be hard from afar to go, is that real pencil or is that printed?
Yeah.
Similarly here, the
Sometimes
lines,
you don't know.
they look so analog.
Yeah.
It really does create that feeling.
And the main goal for this animation actually was to try and make it as snappy as possible,
Right.
And play and try to push as far as possible the transitions.
Right.
So, for example, you see from here to this frame, they're not the same. Like,
No,
they're not even
it's-
close.
right. Not gonna-
But just because the shapes bring that energy with them. Your eye, it's the magic we said before.
Yep.
Same with like in this moment.
Right.
From here to here, you see the black shape that is in this side changes to this other side. I mean, it's nothing new. It's been used for ages.
Right.
Actually, Valentina before she showed us yesterday, I think. A video she filmed in Paris. It's all editing and it's live action and that. And she uses to make transitions similar objects that are transitioning, and like the movement is going to the right. So the next object, if it's a bird, the next object is another bird, or the lines of a building then are like with the lines of a string.
Exactly.
So it brings the energy,
Yep.
and your eye just completely feels that.
That's right. And until you even pointed out that these things were transitioning without a transition, that was not a thought to me.
Yeah, exactly. So
It seemed so fluid, but now, I see, got lazy, huh? No transitions. I see what I see what
just
you did
chopped
there.
stuff
That's
in
right.
the middle. For example, this one here, like same.
Right, and
same
you're even
stuff.
changing the border too, which is
like just a change of color.
not like you cross-dissolved into it or anything. Don't do that, by the way. Don't do that. That will not be appreciated by anyone.
So there is quite a lot of these moments in this little GIF, like from a square to like a shape like this. But I think like they flow nicely all together, which is interesting.
And this palette, by the way, I love too.
And the palette helps to bring everything, like from here to here, just because we have that circle in the middle that is like scaling down. Then it just transforms into that. And here it goes again, the sounds, while I'm animating this, I'm all like,
By the way, that frame with the bouncing ball there where you have that kind of pseudo 3D drop shadow happening
like
there.
that,
I don't know what it is about that. Every time it just grabs me. There's something so cool and I can't describe it. I don't know why it affects me there too. It's just there's something about it that just works.
I think like one thing that brings a lot of value to animation is secondary animations. You have the main movement, but then you have other things that are moving secondarily to it.
Right, which could be shadows.
Yeah, it can be shadows. It can be, for example, in this case, it's that black shadow that,
separating.
It gives a bit of parallax and it's maybe like feels like 3D or something like that.
Which Shameless Maya was saying to Valentina and Dacia just before, parallax.
Yeah, parallax, and in this case as well, just to have, again, going into that hand-drawn feeling. And to make things, I guess, difficult for myself.
Right.
I don't know. I decided that I was gonna animate. Oh well, yeah. This is because then I turn it. So I decided I was gonna animate using only holding keyframes.
Oh right, yes. You were saying this yesterday. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So all the keyframes and all the animation that you see, I haven't used interpolation at all. As we were saying, like with the twinning and all that. But every single keyframe, it's there, so that brings a bit more of a like that hand-drawn kind of feeling. You can push movements because the curves sometimes in After Effects, even if you put it like 100%, there is so much you can smooth in. You cannot go as snappy that if you like put a keyframe and then like one, that it will do like a really harsh stop. Compared to like a more smooth one, So that was a conscious decision
to do
as well as animating like one keyframe every 3 frames. I was talking yesterday about. I was in the hotel and I was watching. They were putting The Hobbit on TV, and that's in 60 frames per second, and
very famously.
And I think it's.
Or 48, right?
Yeah, 48. 48, right? Yeah. So 48, which in this case, I'm basically working on 8 frames per second, And it completely depends on the feeling you want the piece to have, In this case, it's a really nice like tactile and it feels a bit like traditional. So, going for a lower rate is nice.
And that's another great design tip because anyone who saw The Hobbit, and if you're a super video nerd like I am, know that when that happened and they were kind of touting the fact that it was done in HFR, high frame rate, 48 frames, you may have noticed, and what a lot of the comments were, which was, it starts to look like sort of episodic TV.
It's like a soap opera.
Like soap opera, exactly.
Kind of style,
I was going to say like Telemundo soap opera style, BBC soap opera style. And it's not super pleasing for some. Like you really either love it or hate it. It's
definitely,
and so that's why I think that was a push towards that. That trio of films. You haven't seen too many happen after that.
No, maybe people wasn't that happy about it.
People really didn't love it. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but again, it's that emotional kind of connection.
I'm happy with my 24.
That's right. I'm very happy with 24.
I'm happy with my 24.
Okay, Timo's got another question for you. The composition is more geometric, and the tutorial in Animate was pretty organic. Would you say that organics are more appropriate for Animate and are limited in AE?
So the thing is that like for Animate, since it's hand-drawn, of course you can do perfect circles, and you can do, but it's way easier to do like the geometric stuff in After Effects with keyframes, which like you can adjust values directly on, like you open the scale and like from 100 to 102 or whatever, and then there is a new keyframe appears. Compared to Animate, which is to be hand-drawn, it's more difficult to do like perfectly rounded shapes, or it just takes a bit more time. So I do prefer, like when I do motion graphics with shape layers and geometric things that are like, as you see in here, everything like quite straight and perfect triangles and circles. I usually do it in After Effects, and when it's more like things that is just like something that you could draw, like if it's waves or like a smoke or any other kind of water effects or anything like that, that would be done in Animate for sure. So I think it's, organic is easier when it's hand-drawn. It can be Animate or it can be Photoshop, you know, like you can do on the timeline, and you can bring like textures from Photoshop as well, which in the next example, I'm going to show you another way that I did to just bring more work on myself. I could just avoid, but you know, sometimes happens.
And by the way, so Frank was just asking, you don't quite understand the challenge. So yeah, so Frank, it's just to really create an animated lower third template. So if you didn't, well, obviously now the challenge time is up, but you've got another 2+ hours to submit for Evan and Jake's section. So you still have a chance, and well, we've got another 20 minutes. So maybe wait. I mean, the challenge is up for now, but maybe get into a few more things, and then I'll pull these up and get ready to show all of them in the meantime.
Someone says they're like, are there motion designers that inspire you? Oh man, every single day. I mean, these days there is so much talent.
So much talent
that like it feels like it's constant. Like you go on Pinterest, Instagram, like Behance, and you see so many good artists out there. There is just sometimes it's just difficult to keep track of everyone, and it's even overwhelming to see all that. But I mean, just to drop like the guy that I mentioned before, J.R. Canest. There is this other guy, Chris Anderson, that is like amazing. I mean, I could name like
a million,
100.
Now, what about just sort of more traditional 2D artists?
Oh well, I have a friend of mine personally. I work with him. Let's see, Maxim. I can show you. Like he's an absolute master on. He's now in Madrid, in my hometown, actually working for a feature film, and he did this not long. Yeah, French guy. He did this not long ago for a Kickstarter campaign.
Oh wow.
That is another level of animation, obviously. You know, that it's absolutely amazing. So yeah, this in traditional animation, like character animation, these guys, and you know, like there is so as well. Like there is so many talented. But yeah, a lot of inspirations from everywhere.
And
Oddfellows is incredible.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
They used actually like in the intro for the Adobe Live. It's from them.
Right, that's right.
And they use the cuts with similar shapes that bring the energy to the next frame. So it's the same technique as this little GIF, and they do it amazingly. So,
so good, so good. Yeah, actually, Jimmy was saying, the group that did the Adobe Live opening. Yes. Okay. All right. So
the name of the artist, if you can put like the 2D animator, I don't know if someone can write it.
I'll put it in the.
It's Maxime.
Yeah. Maxime
Delalande. Yeah. That's it.
Character animation artist.
That's it.
All right. Oh, and Joel beat me to it. All right, very nice. All right. All right, so I'm going to keep pulling these up. And so we did get some more entries, so that's good. Still would like more, but that's okay. They will move over to the next to the next challenge.
Yep. We're gonna review them now.
Yep. Just give me a second. I'm gonna pull them up in a
separate
separate browser here. Just bear with me for a moment. Very excited to see what people have created today.
Someone says, like, did you manually smear the circles in those transitions? Yes, I did. I guess you will mean for this transition, I guess. Nick, for here, probably. I think there is something really nice when you do smear things manually, like not with the blur effect or anything like that, but just actually doing the shapes yourself. And another thing that I used in this project, and it's quite interesting as well. Like it's another expression that I think it comes from that document I told you guys about before. That it keeps the lines the same width, even if you scale them. And I have that saved here in the K-bar because it's really, for this specific project, was super useful. Let me try and find it. Example there. Do we have them there?
I do
okay,
have
let's
them.
just
Yeah, shall we review these?
Let's
All right.
just review.
Okay, so now it is time for our main challenge. Lucky recipients could be
Yes.
Tyrone, could be Mark, could be Jimmy, could be Vinit. Could be the lucky recipient of
So today's
a year
lower
of Adobe
thirds.
CC. So today's lower thirds.
Yep.
So let's take a look at the first one here, and this is from Tyrone Henry. Here, let's do full screen on this.
Ooh.
I'm gonna wind that
Play
back.
it again.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, very nice. Well done. I like that animation. Oh, nice. Little fade on, fade out.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like they sourced it from that original honeycomb-ish lower third.
I would just point like it would be nice if the instead of fading at the end, it will go away as the shape goes away in there. It would be nice if the Adobe Live goes away with the shape. It will bring a nice ending movement. Same as it comes in with it, it
Right.
should go out with it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Feeling-wise, that makes
Yep.
sense too. Yeah. Nicely done. Very nice. Okay. All right. So next, thank you, Tyrone. Okay, next one is Mark Oler. So let's go again, full screen, and take a look at this. The buzz.
the bee.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Let's play that again. Yeah, nice. Come in. Yeah.
And I like the little shadow on
Cool.
the bee as well. That's cool.
Nice.
All right, nicely done. Okay, number 3, Jimmy Mitchell. Let's go full screen. Okay. Oh, and I think Jimmy said he doesn't have the video in here. It's just a white background. So we'll take a look.
That's all right.
That's okay. Yeah. Ah,
Nice.
wow, that's very nice.
Nice.
And also very nicely
Cool.
done there.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah. This is smooth. Everything comes in,
and a little.
goes away. Yeah, and
I like that. Ooh. I think that was inspired by Valentina's artwork today.
Yeah.
That was really nicely done.
Yeah, they were using that spark effect, right?
Wow, I really like that. Not biased, not that you're kissing up, Jimmy, but I really like that. May I use that for myself? I really kind of like that. Very cool. All right, and last one is Vinit Kumar. So here we go again.
Very nice. That's
Moving
nice as well.
shapes,
Oh,
some motion there.
it goes away.
Oh.
Nice.
And now, and now that you pointed that out from the first one, this one in particular is doing that same thing where it's
and, and
yeah.
then it goes away.
a little consistency.
Nice.
These are the things that I struggle with a lot too. Like if I'm doing an opacity shift on a certain number of layers,
Yeah.
should they all disappear?
Yeah.
Should they cascade one
Yeah.
after the other?
It's
Is there a
up
rule
to you.
for that?
No, no, it's
there
up
isn't,
to you.
right?
Yeah, there isn't. Yeah.
Okay.
As long as it's smooth. Yeah.
That's right. And as long as it resonates, right?
Yeah.
If you like it, the client likes it, whatever works. Okay, so one last time, we won't go full screen here. So we've got Tyrone Henry. Okay, nicely done. And then our fade out. We've got Mark Oler. The buzz.
With the bees.
Bzz.
Yeah, nice.
That's more of a mosquito, I guess. All right, Jimmy
That's a cool one
Mitchell.
as well. Yeah. Yeah.
I really like the motion on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's very clean, it's very modern. Again now, so Jimmy, right now, well not now, but I would use Capture CC to know what font that was. I love whatever font that is. So this is where I use Capture CC font all the time. And then last one here, Vineet Kumar. Also really
nice as well. It's a tough choice.
Tough choice.
Yeah, those two last ones have it for me. I like those little shapes, both at the end of this one and like the ones that are playing and moving in the one from Kumar, I think.
Yeah. Okay. But you can only choose one.
Oh God, is it up to me? Give me some. It's difficult.
It's difficult.
It's really difficult. Yeah. What can I say? Think just because. Can we go back to the other one?
Yeah.
Let's see. Just because it works, this one works in over white background, let's say, but I don't know how readable would be that really thin font directly on footage, you know?
Okay.
Also, it's a pretty light colored font. So I'm gonna have to award to Kumar.
Okay.
Just because the background, it's really readable. It's nice. It has nice motion, and it has a nice background, like the difference of colors between the darker background with a lighter effect. I think that's
okay.
Got it for me. So,
all right. Well, Vineet Kumar, congratulations.
Yeah.
And again, Vineet, Jimmy, Mark, Tyrone, really wonderful stuff. Thank you for your submissions. It's not over yet, though. We've got Evan and Jake coming up. You can submit again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Try again. So, hey, you could resubmit a similar one, just modify it a little and change it up. Really great stuff. And again, really well designed. Like, just good design ideas. Let me ask you this. Did you, when you were sort of first starting in After Effects and things, would you say that your design experience was directly, like, as you were creating in After Effects, was that something that you were consciously thinking about, or was it more about, no, I'm drawing, I'm animating, the design part was secondary to the animation part, or were they together?
Think, actually, in my opinion, like, normally good design has more weight than the animation itself. Like, with really beautiful design, you can kind of get away with the animation. Even like you can maybe do like, if there is no time for animation, you can like do more of a stop motion kind of, or like lower frame rate as we've seen, or something 12 like
frames,
that.
Yeah.
But the other way around doesn't go the same. Like if it's really smooth animation
but terrible
design,
it does
hold. So that's why, like, sometimes for people that are just animators or motion graphic designers, something that is pretty cool is to just like, if you see some artist that you really admire and you really like their work or whatever, and you feel like, just reach out to them and like say like, oh hey, I love your work, I know you don't animate your illustrations or your designs, I would like to collaborate with you and like do it in my spare time or something.
Just for fun.
Yeah, just for fun, and like, because if your design skills are not up to like the level that you would like, you can just collaborate with other people and use their design skills. They will use your animation skills, and everyone wins.
And everyone wins, and everyone. And I think Behance is a great way to make those sort of networking connections. That's not trying to sell Behance to anybody, but it is a reality.
It's a good way.
You've got a creative community of over 10 million now, if I'm not mistaken. Behance. I think we've got more than I know it is, because they just had an event in New York. Yes, so 10 million creatives in something like 600 different creative disciplines. So I think the other thing people often forget is it's not just, like, I can tell you, when I first joined Behance, I was so intimidated, right? And this was earlier days, so when I think it was around $1 million at the time, $1 million and a bit. And you go on there, and the first thing you see is, like you're saying, like these Pinterest type things where it's just so stylized, and you can kind of, they originated in New York, so it's kind of got that New York edge. I'm from that part of the world, and I was totally intimidated. Like, I don't know if I can do this. But what you find is, very quickly, is one, it's a true creative community.
Yep.
Two, something else to consider, especially if you're looking for collaborators or just trying to get yourself out there. Behance has, they don't have an element that like even Facebook and YouTube have, which is something that I've always loved about Behance, which is they don't have this.
Yeah.
This is not a function that you can use or implement on Behance. Yes, you could comment on someone's work and say, that sucks. That wouldn't be very nice. But there's none of this.
Why would you do that?
There's none of this because creative communities, everybody understands. Everybody's first try at whatever,
of course.
animation, painting, music composition, expressions, it probably did suck. It was probably terrible.
Yeah. It is
No doubt.
It is a marathon, you know.
It is a marathon.
You're not gonna get something. You're not gonna get really good in 2 weeks, you know.
No.
It's something that takes years.
It takes time.
Yeah.
And what I loved, so I published my first thing there, which by the way, I went like, there wasn't a lot of music on there at the time, so I wasn't gonna do photography or anything. I was totally intimidated. I did some music thing with just a background image. And when I got feedback, it was all very encouraging.
Yeah.
So that inspired me to put up a photography collection on there.
great.
And suddenly, people were really resonating with the photography.
Yeah.
But it was all this positive encouragement because it's a true creative community. Yes,
sure.
I'm sure there are some trolls and things. To be honest, truly, I can't say I've ever really encountered
on Behance. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's a nice community.
One in 1,000 posts, maybe I've seen something. I mean, that's true.
That's great. Yeah,
Because
when
everybody's
when you receive feedback that is constructive.
constructive,
you know,
right?
Even like you can get like so many great, amazing,
Right.
yay,
Right.
those kind of comments,
And that's very nice.
Those are really nice, but
It doesn't improve
your
skill.
work
That's right.
as well.
That's
so,
right. And that's what I love about it. And again, I think it's the simple fact that everyone's been there at phase one.
Yeah.
You know, my first illustration, my first. I would love. Actually, I wouldn't love to show you, but I would love, in my mind, in an ideal world where I wouldn't have to embarrass myself terribly, to show you. Evan's right over there laughing. To show you my first animation in After Effects.
or my first reel, for example.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Oh God.
And
Yeah.
to your earlier point,
Yeah.
Pablo. So I was taught After Effects by one of the goddesses of After Effects, Angie Taylor, who's based in the UK. And she truly sat me down and taught me After Effects. I was a living example of what you just described before, which was pretty good animation skill. I learned from a master.
Yeah.
Horrible design choices. So I recently uncovered this animation, which I think was actually exported out like QuickTime animation in 640 by 720 by 480. And the animation was okay. And first of all, it had just way too much going on.
Yeah.
That's a common problem, right? You try and animate everything. So everything's moving, everything's wiggling. You know, I learned 3 expressions, the same 3 I still know.
Yeah.
Everything's moving, wiggling, 64 different fonts in one frame.
Everything bounces.
Everything's
and,
bouncing and everything has ease. So everything is just very like this, you know. It just takes time.
Yeah,
it takes
of
time, and
course,
it takes
like every other craft.
Of
you
course.
know? That's it.
And I think it takes the experience of being influenced and inspired
Yeah.
by others, like Jake, like Evan, like
Oh, yeah.
yourself, like Sean.
Yeah, Jake and Evan that are just behind the camera,
Yes,
and they will
indeed.
come up here in a few minutes.
They're going to rock
yeah.
it and show you some
Yeah.
more After
They're
Effects.
going to learn a ton with them.
Absolutely. And you know, Valentina, Maya, Dacia, it's been such an amazing week.
Yeah, it's been great, yeah.
We're so grateful to have you here, Pablo, and
yeah.
thank you for sharing your.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. It's been a great experience, and being able to talk to all of you in the chat. That was great, yeah.
So encouraging. Love the down-to-earth talk. And that, my friends, is what it's all about. So again, thank you so much for joining us here on Adobe Live. Coming up next, stick around. We've got Jake in Motion. We've got Evan Abrams. More After Effects, more motion design. Don't forget about that challenge. You could be the lucky recipient of a year of Creative Cloud. Pablo, from my heart, thank you so much
thank
again.
you.
The pleasure's
Yeah.
been mine. And we will see you again next time. Stick around for Evan and Jake. Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.